So much happens in 5B. I want to start with Lucifer seemingly becoming God. Everyone takes the knee to him. Is he God?
Well, you'll just have to wait and see, Katie
I knew
Krause.
you were going to say that.
Well, I can't tell you that. I think we're left to assume that that's probably what's happening next in Lucifer's life. I think we learn that maybe it's not that simple in the final season. Oh my me.
What was your reaction when you read that scene in the script?
I'd known what was happening for a while, actually. The weird thing was, when we were filming season 5, for the majority of it, we thought that that was going to be our final season, because that's what we were told. So we were writing towards the end of the show, and then we sort of took a sharp left turn, a few weeks left in the writer's room. I wasn't sure how we were going to sort of not make it the end, if you know what I mean. I was happy with what we did and where we left it, because I feel like we left it on, I always like to leave it on an upward inflection. Like, oh, what's happening? Just before we go. So yeah, I was happy with that, for sure. Everyone deserves a second chance.
What does that mean for Lucifer's journey in the final season?
Well, it means that Lucifer's journey has not gone full circle yet, which is what I think, we would have assumed it had done at this point. There's still one part of Lucifer's journey that he hasn't banked on, basically. Not that he was planning this journey out, but that I think he probably felt like this was it, and then all of a sudden it isn't. You'll have to watch season 6 to find out what on earth I'm talking about. I
have an inkling. Lucifer is not sure how he was able to come back to Earth from heaven after he gave Chloe that ring. What was it about his, I guess, selflessness in that moment that did bring him back?
That was his sacrifice, because I think he felt that by giving her that ring, that would be the end of him and they'd never see each other again. I think he thought that was it, but he did it out of love because he felt like her journey hadn't finished and her story wasn't meant to end this way. So that's why he gave her the ring, and not because he thought it was gonna magically bring him back. I choose you, Chloe.
When he does give her the ring, he puts it on a very specific finger, her ring finger. Are we getting a Deckerstar engagement or a wedding?
It's the only finger that fit.
I talked to Joe and Ildy and they told me that it was intentional.
It was very intentional. I mean, obviously it's very symbolic, and I think because Lucifer felt like that would be the end for him at that moment in time, that's why it's symbolic in that moment, because it keeps them connected for eternity in that sense, and our audience would never have seen a proposal otherwise.
But now there's a chance.
Now there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
Lucifer also tells Chloe, I love you. Finally, after what seems like the longest 5 seasons of all time, why was that the perfect time for him to say it?
I think it's that moment of clarity, of realization, of not knowing what you've got until it's gone. Lucifer had many, many doubts about what love actually is and what that means to him, because he felt he'd probably never experienced it. But I think he's realized through this whole journey that he has experienced love, and it's the first time he's been able to admit that to himself when he admits it to her. I love you.
What does this mean for Deckerstar in season 6?
Well, it means that there is a lot of Deckerstar in season 6.
Yeah, the fans are going to go crazy over that.
I know, and there's some twists and turns like there always is in our Deckerstar story. Lucifer and Chloe are very much together in season 6, so Deckerstar lives.
I feel like him not saying those 3 words for a long time was a very big obstacle for them in a way. What hurdles will they have now that they are together and he said these words?
One of the things that we thought about with season 6 is that we like the notion of and they all lived happily ever after. And then what happens when people live happily ever after? Do they actually live happily ever after? Or is there more story there? Is there more things that they haven't experienced that they have to experience together now? And is that going to be a good thing for them together or a bad thing for them together? That's where it takes us in our story. And as always with Lucifer, there's always some kind of curveball, some kind of celestial curveball that happens. And it would be wrong for me to say that doesn't happen in season 6.
Don't go. Does it have to do with Dennis Habert's version of God? Because he's now gone to a separate universe as God.
You're really asking for all these spoilers, aren't you?
I'm just, there's so many things that happen.
I love the fact you're theorizing so much, though. It might do.
Can you tell I watched the show? I did watch all of it.
Yeah, no, you do. You've really gone to school on it, haven't you? Is it something to do with Dennis? Yes, in a way, yes.
What is their relationship like after what has happened in 5? How do you see that evolving or shifting?
It takes on officially being together. What does that actually mean when one of you's human, when one of you's celestial? And that's where we sort of find ourselves exploring. in season 6. Now you see what I've been dealing with.
Shifting gears a little bit, Dan sadly dies in 5B. I spoke to Kevin, and he said the character most affected by his death, aside from Trixie, is actually Lucifer. So I'm wondering what your take is on that.
There's a profoundness to Dan's death that hits Lucifer, and you know, Lucifer has spent all these years teasing Dan and chastising him, but ultimately under all of it, I think that he realizes that he deeply cares about Dan. And I don't want to sort of glibly use the word love too much, but whilst there is a romantic love going on between Lucifer and Chloe, there's a love and affection that Lucifer has grown for the other characters and the other humans in the story that he hadn't quite counted on. And so when Dan dies, it opens up something in Lucifer that's very dark. God, it's a really sad moment. It really is.
Tell me it's not true.
I can't.
Another big storyline this season was Michael, big bad in 5B. First of all, for you, how was it to play both characters kind of mentally, physically?
It was pretty exhausting, but it was, you know, it was fun as well. It was one of those things where when I said yes to doing it, I didn't really kind of like count on how much I would be doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I did really enjoy the process. Playing two different characters felt a little bit like playing two characters in a play, where you run off stage and you quickly change into the other character and then you run back on stage again and do that. And that's basically what I found myself doing, especially in that family dinner scene in the first episode. That was like 2 days of filming and me just flitting back and forth between the two characters. And that's why Michael's hair is like Michael's hair, because essentially if you look at it, it's Lucifer's quiff and I've just gone like this.
That's so funny. I can imagine though, it probably took a toll. Do you get a break from playing as much Michael in season 6?
Yes, basically, yes. is the short answer to that.
I thought this moment would give me some catharsis.
I am hearing that there is a big villain in season 6, but in a way, it could be Lucifer with himself. He's kind of his own worst enemy in a lot of ways. Is that true, or what did
Where are you hearing these rumours from? Where are you hearing these rumours from?
Ildy and Joe told me.
Oh, they're terrible, yeah. Well, Lucifer's, as we've sort of realised over the seasons, Lucifer's worst enemy really is himself. So someone who is very, very confident suddenly racked with doubt, that's part of Lucifer's obstacle. There is a big villain that comes in season 6. It's someone that we've already met.
Is it a main character?
I'm not going to say. I'm just going to say it's someone we've already met.
Okay, that's a good tease. For some reason, I love Maze so much, but I'm always worried about her.
Whether she's just going to flip.
Yeah.
Well, that could happen as well.
I think you would be more cheeky with it if it was her.
Yeah, I know.
Lucifer has come so far over the past few seasons. What is your favorite thing about his development and his journey from the beginning to the point that we're at right now?
I think just that, the fact that he's had a journey, the fact that this character has grown and evolved as the seasons have gone on. It's been a different chapter in Lucifer's growing up, because I feel like he started very much as a teenager, a petulant teenager in our early seasons. And certainly by season 6, and I'd say by the end of season 5, Lucifer has really turned into a man. No, he wasn't a man, but he wanted to be judged not by how he was perceived by people and how people perceived the devil to be. He just wanted to be his own person and people to go and take him on face value, basically. And he's turned and evolved into that man by the time we get to season 6.
Now there's a ringing endorsement for my campaign poster.
What more is there to learn about Lucifer and his story in the 6th and final season?
The moments that I've really thought have resonated on this show when we've delved into the family side of Lucifer. When we delve into family stuff in season 6, there's something that he's never experienced before.
In terms of like an emotion or?
Yeah, in terms of an emotion and a feeling.
I'll take that as a yes.
You guys already did shoot season 6, so I'm curious what the final days were like.
It was weird. I mean, like, knowing that we were finishing was beneficial in that process, actually. I've had such a fond, amazing time doing this show that I was readying myself to finish for a long time. And I guess, like, every day I was going to work, it was part of the grieving process, really. There's an episode towards the end of the final season that actually was quite a cathartic episode to shoot. And the scenes that I found myself doing on the screen were pretty cathartic. And there's a very brutal honesty about a lot of those scenes. God, my hairs are going up thinking about it, actually.
Chills.
And so that really helped, actually. It kind of was almost like I was getting it out on screen. And I knew that finishing the show meant that I wouldn't be coming to work with those people anymore, but it didn't mean those people would no longer be in my life.
Friends forever.
Friends forever, indeed. You know, I really thought you'd be more excited about this.
The first time I ever interviewed you, we thought that that was the final season. And I asked you if you were happy with how Lucifer's story wraps up. But now that we've added on so much story, how happy are you with how Lucifer's journey ends?
I feel content, which is not always the case. It's quite a luxury to know that you can finish your story properly. So that is a much more satisfying feeling than being cut short. I feel happy. I feel like we told the story we wanted to tell. You know, I love where we left it. I love what that means at the end of it, when where we left it.
After Lucifer ends, will you fully say goodbye to this character? Would you ever consider a spin-off or reprise the role if the right place for him popped up?
Oh, look, I always say never. It's cleverer to do that. I think for now, I'll put the horns to bed. You know, this was very much a story. You know, these 6 seasons of Lucifer was very much a complete story. So I'm happy to put the character to bed for that. If, you know, something came up in the future and it felt like the right thing at the right time, then of course I'll never say never. But certainly for now, this is it, people.
Well, in the meantime, how about business as usual? Nice little murder, take your mind off things.
Do you think there's another character on the show who potentially warrants a spin-off?
Trixie.
Trixie! That's actually a very good answer. Yeah, why not?
Indeed.
Do you have a message to the Deckerstar fans after they watch 5B?
You got what you wanted, I hope, and then in season 6 you're going to get even more of what you wanted. But be careful what you wish for.
How would you describe the final season? What words would you use?
Oh gosh, emotional, and nuanced.
What just happened?